In Afghanistan, the Taliban have attacked 2 airports in an effort to neutralize the air power of the Afghan Air Force. A Taliban spokesperson said the fighters attacked an airport in Herat province a day after hitting the Kandahar airport with mortar shells. In a tweet, a Taliban spokesperson said the fighters fired mortar shells at Herat's Shindand airport, killing 4 Afghan soldiers. The group also claimed to have captured multiple security checkposts in Nangarhar and Parwan, leaving nearly 30 soldiers and policemen dead. This comes as the Afghan Air Force stepped up airstrikes to stop the Taliban's rapid gains across the country. Meanwhile, former U.S. Commander to Kabul, General David Petraeus, says Washington did not fulfill its duty to protect democracy in Afghanistan. He said Washington has abandoned Afghans to face a bloody and brutal civil war. For more on this, we are joined by Mr. Arshad Yousafzai, an analyst speaking to us from Peshawar. Mr. Yousafzai, thank you so much for speaking to Indus News. Now, Mr. Yousafzai, the fighting in Afghanistan is getting worse by the hour. Why do you think the Taliban have started attacking airports, and whether these attacks will hinder the exit of the foreign troops?
Well, the attacks are increasing because, one of the fact is that the Taliban had a plan that as soon as the foreign troops leave Afghanistan, they will start taking as many cities and as swiftly as possible. So that is why we are seeing attacks all around the country now. The reason they are attacking airports, especially the attacks yesterday on airports in Herat and Kandahar, are one of the reasons behind this is the Taliban believe that it's a retaliation. They are linking it as a retaliation to the bombardment that they suffered day before. The reason these attacks on the airport are because they believe that the Shindand airport in Herat, in particular, was used to attack Taliban convoys in Guzara and Herat. Now, I don't think that this will delay the withdrawal of the foreign troops, because the foreign troops are committed to leave, and as soon as the September 11 date approaches, it is quite sure that all the troops will leave Afghanistan, and by then the Taliban believe that they would have captured many areas compared to they are now, which is almost half the country. So they will be in a better position to dictate their terms as they did before the start of Doha Agreement or Doha talks.
Mr. Yousafzai, the United Kingdom has already voiced their soft approval of working with the Taliban if they would come into power. Do you believe that a military takeover of Afghanistan by the Taliban is inevitable, or do the Afghan forces possess the capacity to fight back?
Well, it's not just the UK at the moment. Other European countries too are starting to soften their image or their attraction towards the Taliban. But one thing is for sure, the Taliban have been capturing areas that are far from the major cities, that are not well guarded at the moment. Particularly border areas, small towns or villages or districts that are far from the city centers. So we haven't seen the worst of the fighting yet. The Afghan troops haven't put up any big fight yet. I fear that in the future, when just like it's happening in Helmand and Herat now, so I believe that the fighting will escalate in the future.
Mr. Yousafzai, experts say that the reason behind the rapid Taliban gains is that President Ashraf Ghani's corruption. They say that the Ghani government continued receiving funds for ghost soldiers, while the number of security troops on the ground was nearly half of what he had mentioned in the books. How much of this is true?
Corruption is one of the major issues. The people of Afghanistan are not happy with the current government. And they believe that one of the reasons that the Ghani government administration is asking the foreign troops not to leave, the Ghani government would want to have an extended period of taking out more corruption money as much as possible for them, and to extend their regime to get more benefits from the Western countries. So I believe it is agreeable to greater extent that corruption is one of the major issues of the current government. And, things were shown not exactly as they were. The preparation of the Afghan troops, it was not as was shown. It was propagated by the Afghan politicians in their books or on social media. It was just a hype that they had created. But in reality, things were worse than that.
Mr. Arshad Yousafzai, thank you so much for speaking to Indus News.